There it is. We are continuing to talk through the Nicene Creed. We're not going to use it in our worship today because we are baptizing, and when we baptize with the Apostles' Creed, right? We have two creeds primarily that we use. The Apostles' Creed, also known as the shorter one, right? And the Nicene Creed, known as the longer one. And the Nicene Creed is the one that we are focused on. The Apostles' Creed is one that we always use for baptisms. And it's used in baptisms across the church, across denominations, a reminder of what unites us in who we are. But the... Oh, where'd my clicker go? Can you put the display back up for me? So we're talking today about this first part. We believe in one God, the Father, the Almighty, maker of heaven and earth, of all that is seen and unseen. And this feels very no-brainer. It draws on what is the fundamental claim of Jewish faith, that God is one. If you go into any Jewish house, give me the next slide, you'll find on the door this thing called a mezuzah. It's a diagonal little container, and inside of it, it's got a little scroll, and the scroll contains a piece of scripture. It contains Deuteronomy chapter 6, verse 4. Hear, O Israel, the Lord is our God, the Lord is one, which is called the Shema. And it's called the Shema because that's what it means to hear in Hebrew. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Hear, O Israel, the Lord is your God, the Lord is one. And this is the fundamental claim over against everything else that is happening in the world around first the Jewish people and then the first Christians. Because everyone else in the world up to this point doesn't have a God, they have gods, right? They have a God for every occasion. They have a God for fertility, a God to turn to for success in your employment, a God to turn to for health for your family, a God to turn to for a great harvest, on down through the list. And this isn't just some of them. This is the vast majority of people, except for these little weirdos in the western and eastern end of the Mediterranean, called the Jewish people and then the Christians, who say that there is only one God. And even they, if you give me the next one, again, there you go, even they stumble sometimes, right? We remember how as they came out from the Exodus and God was the very one who had recognized them and saved them, and they still fell away from God. And they said, oh, well, we've been out here for so long. Let's try the old way because we've always done it that way. And so they do. And they fall back into this again and again. As you come to Bible study with me over the next couple months and we study the history of Israel, you're going to see that this back and forth between one God and many gods, between focusing on the God of creation and the Exodus and all these other gods around us. As the first Christians grew into their faith, they were often people who, up until the time of their baptism, had many gods. And so when the creed was confessed in 325, we believe in one God, the Father, the Almighty. It was still radical. Because Christianity 325, this is one of the mistakes we sometimes make. It was legal, but they were not the majority. It was legal, but they were not the official faith of the empire. That would take another 200 years, right? So they were allowed to worship their one God without fear anymore of being arrested for it, of being executed for it. But they still often, by 325, were people who, before their baptisms, had many gods. As they went to the marketplace, they encountered many gods. We say, thank God our world is not like that anymore. Give me my next one, please. Thank God. Martin Luther says about this question of what is a God and who is our God when he's talking about the Ten Commandments. He says the first commandment, right? I am the Lord your God. You shall have no other gods before me. What does this mean? Was is das in German. What does this mean? And he says to have a God is nothing else than to turn to that thing in times of need, to rely on that thing when you are in trouble, to be the thing that you cling to. The same impulse within us creates both a God and an idol. A God and an idol. And so, for example, as we look back over this last week, the last years, the last decade, we know, because it's happened in our country, we know that some gun laws would limit the amount of gun violence in our country, but we refuse to enact them. We have a God. The CEOs of Nestle and Hershey have both told us, you can have chocolate that is inexpensive, or you can have chocolate that doesn't get manufactured with slave labor. But we love cheap chocolate. We have a God. I talk sometimes, I'm interested in these questions. What is America number one at? Here's another thing that America is number one at. Did you know that more than any other country, we spend more dollars than any other country on elective plastic surgery? More than any other country, both as a gross rate and as a per capita rate. While we tell our trans siblings that they can't change the way they look because that's how God made them. We have a God, don't we? Whenever we let our choices get more defined by what is practical than what our values are, we have a God. Whenever we allow our choices to get defined by our ideology, our political choices, rather than our values, we have a God. We know that our criminal justice system incarcerates black and brown people at a disproportionate rate. But we don't change it. We have a God. We know that it costs less to house homeless people than it does to put them in jail. But we have laws that make camping in public spaces illegal and make it illegal to feed people in public spaces. We have a God. We make poverty illegal. Whenever we react one way when the other side does it, and another way when our side does it, we have a God. That which you cling to is your God. Jesus says it this way, where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. We have a God, many gods in this country and in this society. The claim that we believe in one God is just as radical now as it was 1,700 years ago. We believe in one God, and that's weird. It is weird to make choices based on your values rather than what is best for you. It is weird to make choices that benefit your neighbor instead of yourself. It is weird to choose peace in a world full of violence. We believe in one God. In a world of many gods, we believe in one. In this first article of the Creed, we believe in one God, the Lord, the Almighty, the creator of heaven and earth. You see, this gets us too. Creator of heaven and earth. Because lots of faiths in the ancient world believed that the creation of the world was not a good thing. That we are spirits. And we have been trapped in this physical prison that we call bodies and flesh. And here's your weird word for the day. The word is demiurge. Demiurge is the creator in these myths about a creator. And so even in Christianity, there were these people who said, well, the one who created in the Old Testament clearly was trying to punish us, and then the real God came in Jesus and freed us from our bodies. And the Council at Nicaea said, we believe in one God, the Creator, the Almighty, who made all things, both seen and unseen. In fact, give me that next slide. There's this great quote, next one after that, that gets floated around from time to time. You don't have a soul, you are a soul who has a body. And it's usually attributed to C.S. Lewis. C.S. Lewis didn't say this because he's smarter than that. But this idea is still out there among our Christian siblings, that the goal is to get out of our bodies because bodies are inherently bad and to live into our spirit or our soul. I'll fly away, O Lord, we say. It's common. But God made the heavens and earth. And what did God say after God made the heavens and the earth? It is good. And God made the animals and the trees and the birds in the air. And what did God say? And God made humankind. And what did God say? No, God said it is very good. It is very good. We don't like sometimes our physicalities. God made my bald head, and God said it is good. Think about that. We spend more on plastic surgery than any other country in the world. We try and get out of these bodies. How much time are we taught to hate our physical selves? We're too fat, too thin, too dark, too pale. Wrong kind of hair, wrong kind of nose, wrong color eyes, crooked teeth. Funky toe. God looked at you, and God didn't just say, you are good. God looked at you in your physicality and said, you are good. You are good in that physicality. In fact, you are so good. This is the radicality of Christianity. You are so good that Jesus is going to be God who takes on flesh. A human body. We'll talk about that more next week, all right? But that's how good that human body is, that God would dwell within one. What if we taught little girls not that they need to be thinner or prettier or taller or whatever, but that they are good? What if we taught little boys that they don't have to be stronger or faster or tougher, but they are good? What if each and every one of us woke up each day, took our shower, looked in the mirror, and said, oh, God, that is good. Because that's what God does. It's exactly what God does. God looks at you and God says, you are very, very good. You are good from your bedhead to your stinky toes. You are good from that weird mole on your back to the way the roll hangs over your belt. You are good from your going bad eyes to your disappearing hairline. You are good. You are very good. What if we embrace this radical idea that we believe in one God who has created each and every one of us in God's image? The radicality of first living into that for myself and then turning to my neighbor and saying, you are also good. Mourning when that divine image is extinguished. whether it's in a Democratic lawmaker from Minnesota or a political activist in Utah. Mourning when that divine image is extinguished, whether it's children in a school in Colorado or in a village in Gaza. Mourning when that divine image is extinguished or belittled or demeaned, when it's somebody we agree with and when it is somebody where we hate their views. Mourning each and every time something is done or said that is less than, you are very good. Because, dear friends, you are. Your neighbors are. We all are very good.